Hi, welcome to the California State Railroad Museum Library and Archives. I'm Chris, I'm the librarian here, and with me is Claire Phillips. She is an archivist here at the museum as well. And we're standing right outside the front entrance to the museum's library and archives. Most of you might recognize this exterior as the Huntington and Hopkins hardware store in Old Sacramento. This is kitty corner from the museum on I Street. Now, the entrance is through these red doors, but due to quarantine, we're going to be closed to the public. For our purposes today, though, we're going to give you a sneak peek as to what you'll find here when you visit. Okay, we are now on the second floor of the library and archives. We're walking into the reading room. And here's a great shot of our spacious area. These are desks for patrons to do their research. There's books in the back area. Those books relate to California and West Coast railroads. And we have other books on more popular subjects like transcontinental railroad history, people in the railroad. But when patrons come in to do research, the first thing that they need to do is sign in. And they would do so right here. And we do have rules. The primary ones: no food or drinks are permitted, no pens, that tends to stain documents, and also the big thing is we don't circulate our collections. Anybody who needs access to the materials, they have to do it here in the reading rooms. But if they need any reproductions made, we can usually do that at cost. I am now standing behind the reference desk, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our operation. The Library and Archives opened in 1981 to the public at the same time as the museum. And there are 2 full-time positions, a librarian and an archivist, 2 part-time positions, and several volunteers and interns at any particular time. Now, our goal is to support the mission of the museum and to collect material that's related to railroading in California and the West. Our archive is free and accessible to the public. Granted, you will need to pay for parking if you take your vehicle. We get a wide variety of researchers, everything from rail fans and modelers to historians, genealogists, filmmakers, photographers, and members from the legal community. Common subjects people inquire about relate to the history of the Transcontinental Railroad, people in railroading, specific information pertaining to California railroads such as Southern Pacific history, Western Pacific, Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe, you name it. Here is an example of some of the types of materials that we have here in the archives. Common questions we get come from people who want to know more about their ancestor who worked in one of the railroad shops, or an author who is writing a novel and they want to know more about, they want to know information about the main character they're writing about and how they traveled from, let's say, Chicago to Los Angeles in 1930 by rail. And they want to know specific details. How long did it take? How much they paid for the ticket? Or what their sleeping accommodations were like. And we can use a wide variety of resources like these to help find this information. And beyond books and publications, we can find evidence in photographs, timetables, maps, technical drawings, manuscripts and archives, as well as audio and visual material. Now we're now in the stacks of the Library and Archives, which is only accessible to museum staff. What you see here is just a small percentage of our holdings. And most of our archival material is located at an off-site facility, and that's secure and temperature controlled, all that good stuff. Now when patrons need access to those items, we do require they at least give us a 2-week notice in order for us to retrieve the items and have it available in the reading room. Of all the types of materials we have, perhaps our biggest collection is for our photographic prints. And we have over 2.5 million photographs in our holdings, and they're not individually cataloged. To know what images we do have, patrons have to access our online catalog. And when they do, you're going to discover that the photographs are listed only at the file folder level. Now, this long section of file cabinets has been nicknamed our A to Z file. And when I open up a drawer here, you're going to notice that it is in alpha order by company. In this case, it's Central Pacific, and then by subject. This first folder here says Events, California, Sacramento, 1863, January 6, groundbreaking. When we open this up, you see some images for the celebration of the groundbreaking ceremony. So this is a plaque, and it reads, large bronze plaque placed by the retired employees of the Central Pacific on the spot where ground was first broken in the construction of the CP Railway, January 8, 1863. It is at the foot of K Street, Sacramento. And here is an image of people standing in front of this plaque. Really cool. Now over here are examples of railroad ephemera. And this section forms part of the Railway and Locomotive Historical Society. Pretty big collection we have here in the archives. And this particular collection consists of miscellaneous material such as brochures, cards, advertisements from a wide variety of railroads across North America. Now, Claire here is going to pick a box, and we're going to just take a look and see what we can find. Okay, which box did we pull?
Box 137, and it is labeled Southern Pacific to the Southern Railway.
Super cool.
And it looks like inside, based on some of the titles, there are promotional materials. And, oh, let's check out this one. This would be, in the days of 2020 COVID, who is missing their vacation? This is a brightly colored brochure put up by Southern Pacific advertising their train routes on the Ogden and Shasta Division to Oregon. See some beautiful illustrations on the cover. And then we go into it where it talks about some of the different places that you can go and visit via the train.
Fun. Now over here we have some of our technical drawings. Currently our catalog says we have over 157,000 individual drawings in our possession. And these can include anything from details for locomotives and equipment to various station plans. And one of our largest collections is over here, and it comes from the Lima Locomotive Works Company. And that was a railroad manufacturer out of, a locomotive manufacturer out of Ohio during the late 1800s to mid 1900s. I'm going to open up this drawer here. And we're going to see that these are arranged by the drawing number. And if you look closely, many of them are covered in grease and grime. And that's because these drawings were used frequently in railroad shops by people working with heavy-duty equipment. And they would often get their hands and work areas dirty. And we ask our patrons to wear gloves at all times when handling these because, let's be honest, this stuff gets all over your hands and clothes. Well, that wraps up our online visit today. Thanks for joining Claire and I on our virtual archives crawl through the California State Railroad Museum, Library, and Archives. Now, if you have any questions regarding railroads or the people who worked on them, please reach out. You can either call us at 916-323-8073, or better yet, by email, library.csrm@parks.ca.gov. Now, please be sure to keep following the Sacramento Archives Crawl throughout the entire month for amazing videos from our friends at other Sacramento archives. Take care, and please stay safe.